For Wall Street Media, this is Angelo, and I'm here with Doug, and we'll help you make money in the stock market with information you can't find anywhere else.
We've got exclusive stuff from the Baird conference out in Chicago today. Baird, super smart people and super nice people. Got a conference in Chicago. It's a growth stock conference. You can watch the whole thing at wsw.com/webcast/rwbaird22, or you can tune in to us, and we've got highlights. We've got two CEO videos, Angelo. Who do we have?
We have John Torrey, EVP of Concur Technology, that's CNQR, discusses the integrated on-demand corporate travel and expense platform, their global supplier platform, e-receipt partners, and smart expense.
Cool, let's take a look.
We have a travel booking product, a corporate travel booking product we call ClickBook. We acquired it in the March 2006 quarter. And what ClickBook enables you to do is in an online fashion, book that same business trip as opposed to calling that agent or TMC as I just described. There are really two key elements to the ClickBook service, our travel service, that I would emphasize here. One is our Concur Connect platform. Our global travel booking tool enables you to source content from every major global distribution system, or GDS, in the world, as well as source content through direct connections to travel suppliers that do not provide their travel content through those GDSs. There are clear economic reasons today why certain travel suppliers don't make content available through that GDS channel that I'm happy to address in Q&A. But what we enable our corporate customers to do is have the broadest selection of travel content anywhere in the industry. The second element of our travel booking service that I want to emphasize here that we think is very unique is the e-receipts that we enable for our corporate customers. So when you stay at a Starwood hotel, for example, instead of getting a paper-based folio, as I referenced earlier, that you'd take back to your office and have your assistant itemize on your expense report, the Starwood Hotels Group will send to us an electronic folio that's fully itemized, and we'll use it to create what we call smart expenses. Smart expenses are the three-way match of what I would describe as trusted pieces of information. The P&R, or travel itinerary, that's generated from our corporate travel booking tool, corporate credit card data that we're pulling from every major corporate credit card provider in the world, and these electronic receipts that suppliers send directly to us. So to the extent that what you booked matches what you paid, matches what the supplier charged you, we'll create a smart expense. And a smart expense is an expense report that's created with no user intervention and requires the user only to enter submit to process that expense report. We think that's a great reason for users to use our travel booking tool because it simply minimizes the required effort in creating and processing expense reports. Today, there are roughly 400 to 500 plus major travel brands that send us electronic receipts.
Hey, the people at Baird and the people listening to our webcast must have liked what they had to say. They're up more than 3% just today, Angela.
That's right. That's right.
And their chart over the past year, they were at 18 a year ago, just about this time, right?
That's right.
And they're at 38 today, so people have been liking what they've been saying for the year.
Right, they're up 3% already today, so...
Going up as we talk, gang. Tune into the webcast, see what you think. And you've got another CEO video for us.
Yes, we do. Wendell Barr, COO of Covance, that's CVD, discusses their late-stage development in clinical development services and in central laboratory services. Let's take a look.
In our late-stage area, we have two key areas. One is clinical development. The other is our central laboratories. And our clinical development business is one that most people identify with drug development, which is the clinical trials. These are the large clinical trials. And this is probably the most costly area of drug development that's being done. So here, we manage and monitor phase 2 and phase 3 trials. We have a very integrated service approach around this. We're expanding our global footprint into Asia and into Eastern Europe. And this is a business where we want to grow more aggressively. So we're making more and more investments in this area. Over the last couple of years, this part of our business, the profitability has increased and the growth rate has increased, and we feel really good. This is a part of our integrated package, and you'll see me talk a little bit more about it when I show you all the different services that we provide. Now, one of the great things about this business recently that we announced in our last investor call is that Covance was selected as a primary provider of services to a very large pharmaceutical company. And over the next year or so, this company will be making a decision around an exclusive 10-year arrangement to provide these clinical trial services. So the work that we've done to position this business has really given us a good dividend. I think we are standing in a potential area where, certainly we can expand our footprint considerably. Now, next is our central laboratory services. And our central laboratory services analyze the samples that come back from the human clinical trials. And this business is a market-leading business. It has a very high percent of about 25% of all the clinical trials that are done. It has great economies of scale. To give you an example, this business has grown probably about 40% in the last few years, and we've been able to manage that growth with a headcount that stayed relatively flat. This business also allows us to have a great insight into the data that's generated on clinical trials. And that gives us, I think, a great insight in terms of how investigators work, how they recruit, and the quality of the work that they do.
Hey, good stuff. We work with both these companies a lot, and Baird get good companies there. These guys have a pretty good chart over the past year. They were down at 64 about this time last year.
Right.
When we did them, and they're at 82 today. Where were you last year? You should have told me to buy both of these last guys.
I did. You don't remember?
I don't remember. Do you have more that we should take a look at? Highlights from Baird?
Yes.
Maybe.
We've got a couple more.
Right.
Let's go to the first one. It's Pierre Schatz, CEO of Quagen, that's QGEN, talked about recent developments in molecular diagnostics, applied testing, and pharma and life sciences research, as well as the company's sales and market force in Asia, Europe, and North America. James Kreins, EVP and CFO of Zimmer Holdings, that's ZMH, talked about the recall of the Dumor Cup, for which the ongoing internal investigation is ongoing to determine whether or not the problem is design, surgeon, or technique flaw. When asked the reason behind the recent departure of the company's chief marketing officer, Kreins dodged the issue fairly well. Next one is Ron Packard, CEO, and John Ball, CFO and COO of K12, LRN is the ticker, talked about the growth potential for their online school system, mainly based on the subscription-based model. They projected revenue of $216 to $218 million by the end of June. Michael Smiley, the new CFO of Zebra Technologies, that's ZBRA, talked about the management shuffle as well as international expansion into Brazil, Russia, China, and India, saying that in 2000, international revenue accounted for 20% of the company's overall revenues, and in Q1 it now accounts for roughly 50%. John Bishop, CEO of Cepheid, did I get that? Cepheid, is that how you say that one?
I think so.
That's CPHD, announced that Model 48 of the Gen Expert Infinity system products is expected to be delivered in December of 2008, and the 72 model is expected to be delivered in March of 2009.
Hey, and Adobe, what'd they say?
Mark Garrett, EVP and CFO of Adobe Systems, that's ADBE, talked about the company's new initiative to reach out to Microsoft customers and IT professionals with their rich internet applications, which are video-centric. Not bad. He talked about the Adobe Air product as well as Adobe Media Player, which they hope will eventually become Web TV. Garrett also talked about the acquisition of Scenic 7 last year and the revenue they look to gain from that deal.
FedEx.
Next is Rajesh Subramanian, SVP of FedEx FDX, discussed their work to increase FedEx brand awareness and corporate reputation globally to build customer loyalty by providing a superior customer experience and enhancing their value proposition to increase market share across core business units.
I used to use them in another business. I used them every day and sometimes 100 times a day. And they were an awful lot better than they are these days. They've lost tapes for us. They've lost a whole bunch of our stuff recently.
Right.
And I just don't know what happens. I guess, as you get to a certain size and a certain maturity, right? It's easy for someone new to come in like DHL and really start off because you're smaller and everybody's new and fresh. I guess it's the same thing with the airlines.
Well, yeah, I think it also depends upon knowing what premium you're paying. Sometimes the premium, it gets to be bigger than the value of the service. So even if they have better service, are you willing to pay that much more at the end of the day? Like you said, if they're losing packages, the premium has started to shrink.
Yeah, we had
actual value.
We had like 4 in a row where they lost tapes and equipment and everything else. And I went out in a blizzard the one day, literally, and found a FedEx that was open because I needed something to be sent and arrived Monday, and it arrived Tuesday.
Right.
So I could have saved myself. Their website, when I went to look up, doesn't tell you who's open when, and it was for Saturdays.
Really?
So I'm walking around in 18 inches of snow, right? Going from place to place, it's closed. Right? It only took me 5 hours to send a package that was supposed to be there that Monday and arrived Tuesday, which was that much help.
And a lot of companies like this depend upon corporate contracts. And again, this is one of those areas that companies find it easy to diversify and look at what other companies have offered.
Well, that's what we did. We signed up and we got a UPS account, which was worse, and a DHL account, which was okay.
I have a friend that's in the U.S. Post Office. They said give them a try again if your price is not matching the value that you're paying. But
they can't get our mail right here. They go, guys, we've got the whole floor. We're in Midtown. We've got a steel sign that the German's dad made from tank steel. It's this big. It says WSW, Wall Street Webcasting. And then you walk in through our door, and there's the Wall Street Webcasting in gigantic red, white, and blue that must be 10 feet high. And the post office comes in and says, "Oh, we've got something for like 20 different businesses." Every day. Every day they get the mail wrong. I couldn't trust them with any packages. I'm hoping someday they get someone that can read English. Anyhow,
well, we're here every day. Wall Street
thanks for
Media.
coming in and helping out.
I'm glad I could be here. You can find us directly at WSMCO.com.
And God bless the German. He said, click the feedback button. Let us know what you're buying. Let us know if you own the stocks that we talked about. And if you do, what you think of them or their prospects and of their competitors, if you own their competitors.
Just like we expect everybody else to listen to their customers that we talk about, we're going to listen to you.
Maybe.